I refuse to accept the view that mankind is bound to the starless midnight of racism and war. This powerful declaration from Martin Luther King Jr. came as he held the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. It symbolized not just personal triumph, but hope for millions yearning for justice. A testament to nonviolence amid the civil rights movement. The 1960s were riddled with strife. America lay divided, grappling with the deep scars of discrimination. The civil rights movement arose from centuries of oppression. Activists faced hostility, every protest was met with aggressive backlash. In cities across the nation, the struggle for desegregation and equal rights felt like an uphill battle against an immovable force. Into this chaos stepped Martin Luther King Jr., whose name became synonymous with courage. His philosophy of nonviolence sought to awaken a nation to its moral failures. King believed true justice could only be achieved through love and understanding, envisioning a beloved community of racial harmony. But the road was fraught with peril. From the Montgomery bus boycott, sparked by Rosa Parks on December 1, 1955, to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, founded in 1957, King's actions were deliberate and bold. The power of the movement lay not only in numbers but in its message. His eloquence inspired but exacted a heavy toll. Each victory came at a cost, and every speech ignited hope yet drew ire. As King pressed on, he bore the weight of history. King's resolve remained unyielding. Receiving the Nobel Peace Prize in October 1964 marked a pivotal moment for both him and the movement. The announcement affirmed that justice could be pursued through peace. But this recognition came after significant hardships. In Birmingham, Alabama, King faced the weight of segregation. The city was a harbinger of injustice, where the oppressive laws of Jim Crow ruled. King understood that Birmingham would be a test of nonviolent resistance, a battleground for civil rights. In April 1963, he and his allies meticulously organized protests and marches that met with harsh, violent police responses. Images of fire hoses blasting young protesters and snarling police dogs tearing at the fabric of peaceful demonstrations horrified the nation and stirred a moral reckoning. King proclaimed, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere," a conviction that infused the essence of the movement. This understanding was born from a deep-rooted belief that the struggle against oppression transcended geographic and racial boundaries. The brutality witnessed in Birmingham didn't just affect those in the streets, it shook the conscience of people across the nation, awakening empathy and igniting the desire for change. Through violence, King's determination never wavered. His arrest during the protests led to the poignant letter from Birmingham jail on April 16, 1963, a spellbinding articulation of the moral imperative of civil disobedience. In this letter, he laid bare the urgency of the movement, patiently explaining why African Americans could no longer wait for justice. He urged them to step outside the confines of unjust laws that bound them, declaring that, "There comes a time when the cup of endurance runs over, and men are no longer willing to be plunged into the abyss of despair." This letter became a cornerstone of his philosophy, challenging the nation to embrace its ideals of freedom and equality, emphasizing that waiting for a more convenient season was not an option. The world watched as the events in Birmingham unfolded, and the deep pain felt by King and his fellow activists began to resonate with countless Americans. The struggle unfolded further when King led the historic March on Washington on August 28, 1963. Over 250,000 people gathered, united in their quest for dignity and equality. The sight was breathtaking. A sea of faces stretched toward the Lincoln Memorial, voices rising in chorus, a testament to the collective yearning for justice. King's dream transcended barriers of race, transcending the very limits placed upon them by a discriminatory society. He declared, "I have a dream that this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed." His words ignited courage in many, transforming despair into hope. The Nobel Peace Prize placed King on a global stage, allowing him to share ideals of peace and justice with the world. He pledged the prize money to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, reaffirming that the fight for justice was far from over. In his acceptance speech in Oslo, he spoke with passion and conviction, stressing the interconnectedness of all people, proclaiming nonviolence as the greatest weapon of the oppressed. He recognized that his struggle was not an isolated battle, but part of a larger human crusade against injustice everywhere. As he continued to champion nonviolence, King became a beacon of hope. Each threat to his life deepened his commitment to the cause, a fire that burned within him, fueled by the sacrifices of countless others who fought before him. His journey set the stage for the future of civil rights, reminding all that the pursuit of justice is an ongoing journey. In 1964, King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his unwavering commitment to nonviolence. This recognition was not merely an accolade, it represented a movement that surged from despair. In Oslo, he delivered a speech that was a call to action, highlighting the fierce urgency of now, a poignant reminder that the moment for change was not only ripe but required immediate attention. King's acceptance was not a retreat but rather a call to amplify the cries for justice. Upon returning to the United States, he faced increased hostility. Every step forward seemed to invite greater backlash, fueling his resolve to combat the growing tides of racism and bigotry. Each challenge became a stepping stone, illuminating the stark contrast between the ideals of freedom and the oppressive realities faced by many. The struggle for civil rights had reached a fever pitch. King's March on Washington crystallized the demands for equality in a moment that defined a generation. His profound words ignited hope in marginalized hearts, with his dream becoming a rallying cry for justice. The entire nation tuned in, captivated by the vision he painted of a world united in harmony. However, with every victory, the struggle intensified. King experienced profound personal losses, including the assassination of his friend Medgar Evers on June 12, 1963. Evers, a dedicated civil rights activist, had been murdered in Jackson, Mississippi, leaving an indelible scar on the movement. His death was a stark reminder of the violent backlash against those who dared to challenge the status quo. King's resolve was tested. He faced arrests, threats, and violence, yet he stood firm in his belief that love could conquer hate, actively challenging systemic injustice. King's leadership galvanized diverse communities against oppression. With the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, he orchestrated campaigns like the Birmingham Campaign, exposing segregation's brutal realities through violent police responses. The shocking images propelled the civil rights movement into the international spotlight and called attention to the depths of injustice being faced by African Americans. In his Nobel Prize acceptance speech, King reflected on the struggle for humanity, invoking the sentiment that justice must roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. He emphasized that the fight for civil rights was not merely a struggle for African Americans but a human struggle. His legacy of nonviolence and justice remains a clarion call, a reminder that the fight for equality is an ongoing battle, demanding our collective effort. In December 1964, King accepted the Nobel Peace Prize, embodying the dreams of millions suffering under systemic injustice. He acknowledged the struggles that had propelled him there, asserting, "I accept this award on behalf of all men who love peace." His speech celebrated resilience and urged global action against oppression, intertwining his personal triumph with the larger narrative of humanity's quest for dignity. He emphasized the principle that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, calling for a collective awakening. King's message intertwined hope with urgency, declaring, "I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word." His commitment to love as a weapon against hate transformed the civil rights narrative and painted a path forward. The Nobel Peace Prize speech was both culmination and clarion call, detailing the plight of the oppressed while shining a light on the path ahead. He reminded listeners that the struggle was not just for African Americans, but for all who yearned for dignity. King's vision united lives striving for a common goal, reflected in the laughter of children and the voices of the marginalized. He painted a picture of a world where equality reigned and hatred had no place. As he concluded, King left a burning call to action: "Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred." His acceptance did not mark an end, it reminded that the journey toward equality requires unyielding determination and resilience. Every soul listening felt the weight of his words, the urgency of their meaning. King's legacy is not confined to history. His words resonate today, urging us to recognize foundational truths. The principles of nonviolence he championed find relevance in modern movements for social justice, inspiring peaceful advocacy against inequality across the globe. King taught us that love and understanding could overcome violence, guiding our responses to injustice with grace and dignity. As we confront challenges, let us carry forward King's legacy not merely as history, but as an evolving dialogue demanding participation. The urgency of his message reminds us that inaction against injustice is complicity. King insisted, "The time is always right to do what is right." Consider your own life. What legacy will you leave? How can you embody King's values of equality, justice, and love daily? Each small act of kindness contributes to humanity's quest for dignity. In our interactions, we can choose understanding over judgment, compassion over indifference. King's message insists that change begins at the individual level, how we treat others and engage with communities. Each encounter, each gesture of goodwill, has the potential to ripple outward, inspiring larger movements and igniting hope where despair once reigned. As we confront the challenges of our time, let us reflect deeply on King's teachings. The future is shaped by our actions and our unwavering commitment to justice. King taught that the moral universe bends toward justice. It is our duty to ensure it bends faster toward a horizon where hope triumphs over despair. Let us carry forward the torch he ignited, illuminating the path for future generations, honoring all who sacrificed for freedom. The journey is ongoing, it falls upon us to continue the fight. Let each step echo the truth that we can, and must, make a difference. In this collective pursuit of justice, may we find the strength to advocate for those whose voices remain silenced. With every act of courage, we inch closer toward the beloved community King envisioned, breathing life into his dream for a world united in peace and mutual respect.